Hello, and welcome to episode 119 of Prose. This week, question why, and wonder where the music went. I encourage you all to go follow the show on social media under @ProsePodcast across all platforms, and check out prosepodcast.com for even more Prose goodness. If you are enjoying the show, please click that 5-star review button for Prose wherever you're listening. It really helps out a lot. For easiest access to the show, subscribe using whatever podcast app is your favorite. Do go check out the Prose Patreon page and consider supporting the show there. Heaps of gratitude and a little swag will come with that deal. And all of this gloriousness, again, can be found at the fresh new website still located at prosepodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Let's get to the tales, shall we? This week, we have 12/23/07 and The Man Who Lost the Music. Enjoy. (12/23/07) 12/23/07. Somewhere over the Atlantic. Visceral. That's an interesting word. At the moment, I really don't have anything to write. Not specifically. Usually, I sit down and scrabble down some seemingly witty or ingenious little lines that will lead to a work that will bring me future and fame and a fortune. This time I just felt compelled to write. I am watching The Beach. You know, the film with Leonardo DiCaprio. And they just mentioned the word visceral. They deal with themes about ordinary travel and being shit scared of the unknown, as well as wanting to take a little piece of the unknown with you. These are all near and dear to me. My lust for adventure has yet to be quelled for even a day. I'm not sure whether I have to meet real danger or what exactly it will take to lend me some slight degree of satisfaction in this life. We're flying, chasing the sunset, stuck between days, between worlds. I myself am stuck between who I am and who I dream to someday be. Maybe I should just write my fragmented thoughts down as they come and play it off as some sort of stream of consciousness. Well, no. The real literati will be able to call me out on that. I just know I'm tired of staring down at my tattooed arm to different scenery, to different women. I'm tired of a beautiful face, kissing, caressing, adoring this black ink skin every time. Paradise is in a moment, not in a place. But what does that mean when that moment has passed? I'm chasing the sun across the world, running as if that somehow keeps me away from time's grasp. The Hyperion was baked in a mantle of crimson. The ladies draped themselves in sable, inky cloth, in mourning for the ever-dying day. I am become Icarus chasing Apollo on his endless rounds of the firmament. And there it is. That's it. That's all I am and all I can be at the moment. What a terrible, horrible thing to realize. It's barely even worth recording. The Man Who Lost the Music, an original short story by Jared I. McGee. The man that lived at the end of the lane lost the music long ago. His neighbors whispered of a before time when they would hear melodies floating out of what was then his beloved mother's converted garage space. They would see the man down at the revitalized historic downtown area with his friends and fellow creatives, some hawking charcoal sketches, others selling scented beads, still others there to add their voices or strings or reeds to the man's melodies. Those roaming minstrels of rural suburbia would play and play, filling the air of the brick and concrete squares and avenues and storefronts with electricity, then sorrow, then joy, then nostalgia in turn. Round and round, the notes sprang about, and round the affectations and emotions rose and fell along with them. For as long as anyone knew, the man had been synonymous with music. His family, going way back, had been music men and music women. Generally, they had sung and played to raise their voices to the Lord on Sundays and Wednesdays, using their gifts to exalt their sincere beliefs in the Christian God, lifting the hearts and reinforcing the spirits of all their fellow churchgoers. From all accounts, the man sang and played piano from a very young age, using the pastor's pulpit and the choir loft as his first stages for performance. The man made a name for himself as a small child, as he won some contests for his piano playing. As the boy became the man, his interests waned. They changed. He did not quit music, but piano shifted to saxophone and guitar, and his pubescent voice went mute for a time. The man found his voice again in his late teenage years, and the music carried him from exultation to inciting rebellion and fire in his fellow teens. After some flirtations with minor fame, and a great many opportunities that fate saw fit to dissipate before they grew roots and became something substantive, the man calmed down a bit and began gifting his music to those people of his adopted hometown, retreating back to his mother's home and the places of his youth. The man's music carried more weight after life's trials. There was grit and scuffs to what used to be shiny. But even in the songs of mourning, there was joy. The music seemed to always make sure of that. None of the men and women and children who lived on the lane knew exactly when the man lost the music. It had always been there. And then, it wasn't. One day, they went to open a window to hear the melodies drift in, and no melodies were on the breeze. No tunes echoed off the bricks of the historic downtown. The people, when they tried to recall when last they had heard his music on the street corner or down the lane, could only grasp at hazy half-memories. The people of the lane realized they had never really known the man. They had only known his music from afar. And now, the silence was suffocating. The house at the end of the lane was always dim now. The nice woman, the man's dear mother, had passed 6 years back. Maybe that was when the blanket of quiet had been draped over the house. But hadn't he sung at her memorial service? The man's brother and sister used to show up for the holidays. They would sing for hours, all picking up instruments and playing along. None of the people on the lane could recall the man's siblings coming around for at least 4 Christmases. Maybe that was when the stillness descended. Beyond those comings and goings of the relatives, no one else was really ever seen visiting the man. As far as anyone knew then, the man had been utterly alone for a half-decade or more, rarely, if ever, leaving his house at the end of the lane. Oddly to them, the people in the neighborhood most missed the music on boring everydays. They chatted and gabbed that this was odd because of how much light the man brought them on holidays and at special times. There was nothing like the warm notes snaking along the winds for every holiday, major or minor. But those scales and practicings that were the mundane, these were what the people on the lane missed most. The passerby of the downtown missed his rags, tunes, hymns, laments, and praises. But the people on the lane, they missed the unvarnished versions of those rags, tunes, hymns, laments, and praises. They missed the man's mistakes and musings via riffs. Time does not stop. The cliché is a truism, and the people who lived on the lane were not immune to it, just like all men and women of this world. They continued to remember the before times, when music fruited heavily year-round. But the haze crept over those longings and remembrances, like it did all things. Way led to way, the playful children marched toward adulthood. The young neighbors became distinguished in their graying. The memory of the man and his music grew dim. The man that lived at the end of the lane lost the music a very long time ago, and soon no one would remember him or his loss, or their own. The music carried in it the most potent electricity and sorrow and joy and nostalgia and history and remembrance and knowing. When the man lost the music, he lost who he was, and the world lost its recollection, its knowing of the man and all that he knew. No one could mourn this loss. They did not know they had lost anything. Life went on, and the lane stayed hushed. Thank you for listening to The Man Who Lost the Music, an original short story by me, Jared I. McGee. All music and sound effects you've heard in this episode come from freesound.org or YouTube's free audio music library. Everything that you hear being used is being used under CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain Dedication licenses. That does it this week for Prose. I hope you enjoyed these 2 pieces of flash fiction, and please plan on joining me in 2 weeks' time for another regular episode 120 coming up. After that, you'll see a great many episodes popping into the feed because it is going to be the holiday season and it's a Prose tradition. Now, as you leave me and go about your day, I do hope, sincerely, that you'll try your best to love those around you, tell them that you do, and embrace this life as it is, stranger than fiction. Thank you so much for listening.